But today what I want to talk about is I want to talk about the Trademark Identification Manual. The Trademark ID Manual is a very, very useful tool. As a practitioner, I use the Trademark Manual all the time. Now, what is it? Well, as the name indicates, it's a manual that shows you various example descriptions for various goods and services, and it also shows you an underlying number or international class number associated with that particular good or service. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to share my screen and I'm going to actually show you guys how to navigate the Trademark ID Manual. So in order to get here, all you have to do is go to the site down here below. Another way you can do it is you can just simply Google. You can just Google Trademark ID Manual, and that'll be good enough. But this site is very useful because what it allows you to do is it allows you to search. So you can search, let's say that you want to put on a podcast. So you can do a search for podcasts, and it gives you examples. So you can class 41, education and entertainment. And it actually gives you description. So you can actually use this as a model description. So it's a very, very useful tool. This is class 38, transmission of podcasts. So this is often, class 38 is often used for any sort of live streaming. Let's say you're making a mobile app. So you could search software application. And here you're going to see a lot of examples, again, under class 9. So if you want to, for example, if you use your brand to market an API that's downloadable, this is, for example, an example that you could use. So it's really good. The manual is a really good tool because you can search for keywords that might be associated with your good or service, and then it shows you other examples of descriptions, and it also gives you the associated class number. Now, the reason why I'm showing you guys a Trademark ID Manual is because examiners at the Trademark Office actually use this when they're doing their examination. What's also really cool is that there's notes and comments. Some have actually been removed, and the reason why they've been removed is actually given here. For example, this example shows that it was actually more appropriate for a different type of description. Now, the other cool thing is that, again, you can search. So you can actually, let's just say, for example, that I'm interested in clothing. So how do I trademark clothing? Well, the first thing is you have to figure out the class of goods. So here you go. You look up clothing and you see class 25 and you see all kinds of examples. Now, you can also be more granular. So you can actually type, for example, t-shirts. And you're going to see t-shirts under class 25. And again, several examples that you're going to see. Now, if you go to, let's just say you search apparel, for example. Now, one thing I want to show you guys is sometimes in this description, you're going to see these brackets, and these brackets give you an opportunity to insert what you believe is acceptable in terms of the goods that you're actually providing. So the description would be apparel, namely, and then you would actually specify in your description of goods all the various types of apparel that you're providing under your brand name. Let me show you another one that's very popular. So software as a service. This is a lot of industry right now. SaaS products, those are going to come in under class 42. So again, the Trademark ID Manual, very, very useful tool. You can type, for example, food. Or you can type in, let's say, beer. And you can see, oh, class 32. And again, it has all kinds of examples. So the Trademark ID Manual is a very, very useful starting point to try to decide what your classification is. And just one thing I wanted to say before this shows up is I want to make sure I'm clear. Even after you submit your application, the examiner might request that you further narrow or limit the scope of your identification of goods and services. So that's a very common thing. So just keep that in mind, that just because you think it's correct and based on what you research in the Trademark ID Manual, the examiner might have either disagree or actually think that it's more appropriate, that your good or service is more appropriate under a different class identification number.